All right, one of the biggest threats to America is our wide open border. You just heard it. So bad, even Latinos want a border wall. A new Axios poll shows the number of Latinos who want to see that wall, well, guess what? It jumped 10% since 2021. Just this week, though, an Afghan national with terror ties was arrested after crossing over the southern border, not once, but twice. Then we decided to detain him. And you just heard FBI Director Wray talk about China, our number one threat. That, according to the CBP, the Border Patrol, over 46,000 Chinese nationals have taken their roller bags across our southern border now to start the year of 2023. What the hell are they up to? Joining us now to discuss it is Senator Marco Rubio. If you want to know somebody that understands foreign policy, that understands the China threat, you call up the Florida senator. Senator, first off, great to see you. Your reaction to what the FBI said this week and what the Chinese have done to intelligence. They basically have really freaked them out, what they've been doing, hitting us from every angle and now crossing our southern border.
Yeah, well, I think what the FBI director is saying is that the number of threats we face are not just grave, there's a lot of them, right? So, and you add the cyber intrusions that China's making against our utility sector, healthcare sector, and so forth. You add the cyber criminals from Russia and everywhere else that are trying to do the same thing to us. You add to the threat of international terrorism. We know that we saw what ISIS did in Russia. They'd love to do that here in the United States. And then we know, these are things that he actually answered on the record in an open hearing that we had. We know that ISIS has a trafficking network that they use to make money off of. They traffic people from Central Asia and other parts of the world into the United States for a fee. It's a way of generating revenue. But we also know that why wouldn't they use that to bring in some terrorists into the United States against the southern border, across the southern border? And so you have an open border, 9 million people that have already come into the country, and terrorists all over the world that would love to get in here and attack us. It doesn't take, you don't need intelligence, all you need is common sense to tell you that that's a real threat, not to mention the homegrown violent extremists, which is, look, we've got people in the streets of America right now that are chanting death to America. Okay? If there are 100 people in Michigan or somewhere else chanting death to America, it only takes one of them to decide to actually make that happen, that go out and conduct a terrorist attack within our own country. And that may very well be someone who's a U.S. citizen, born and raised here, or someone who's here on a student visa. So the dangers are extraordinary, and the border adds to that.
No, I hear you. Quick thing. The other thing I want to talk about, just to talk about politics today, you talk about combat sports, it's over abortion. When you're running to get 6 more years as a senator, you say, hey, I'm pro-life, but Florida isn't. They want 12 to 15 weeks, and you left it. The President of the United States this week came out and said, I'm going to leave it to the states. And now, all of a sudden, Arizona comes out and says, I want to go back to the 1850s and have 0 weeks. Where are Republicans on this message? And did the president make a good move returning it to the states? I know Lindsey Graham is one of a Republican that thinks he made a bad move.
Well, first of all, I think there are Republicans that are pro-choice. There are Republicans that are pro-life. There are no pro-life Democrats. But there are Republicans on different sides of the situation. President Trump was a pro-life president. For me, this is not a political issue. This is a core fundamental issue of morality and of life. The right to live is the right upon which every other right is built. There is no right to free speech. There is no right to anything if you're not alive. So the right to live is an important one, and that's what this law defines. And I get it. It's a difficult issue because there's a competing right here, which is the right to choose what a woman does with her body, and it's in conflict with the right of an unborn child to live. And as a society, we have to regulate that. I have always said that I will support any bill that saves lives, that saves unborn innocent life. What the president has said is, President Trump is saying, is reality that we don't have the votes to pass any abortion laws in Washington right now. We certainly don't have 60 votes in the Senate for it. That's the reality, whether we like it or not. But we do have a chance in varying states for them to decide, and they're accountable to their voters, what they want their laws to look like. That's what Roe opened the door to. So I'll support federal laws that save unborn human life. But right now it's not realistic to pass them, but states have a chance to do so, and each state will have to determine what direction they want to go. What's curious to me, though, you talked about my campaign, is they're always asking Republicans, what exceptions do you support? They never ask Democrats, what restrictions do Democrats support? Because what they will not tell you is that Democrats, in order to get the endorsement of these radical pro-abortion groups, you have to basically be, whether they admit it or not, you have to basically be in favor of abortion at any time, for any reason, and paid for by taxpayers. That's a radical position, out of step with the majority of Americans.